Hi everyone, it's Juby. I hope you are all well. Today I'm going to talk about 5 tips for filmmakers, beginner filmmakers or filmmakers that need more support. These are pre-production tips or tips when you're planning your film, not script writing, not production or post-production. When I was brainstorming for this video, I wrote over 30 tips and it was really hard narrowing it down. But I made my decision based on all the years that I've been teaching filmmakers. I've taught hundreds of filmmakers over the past 15 years and seen thousands of films. Because of this, there are some common traits that I've seen in a lot of these films. I'm going to be writing more tips about filmmaking and discussing filmmaking in general. So if you are interested in that, please subscribe to this channel. These tips might be different than you'd expect, especially the order of the tips involved. Before we begin, I just want to make sure this is a drama film that you're making or a fiction film in some way. I'm not discussing documentary planning or any non-fiction. Also, I'm assuming that you have a script already or a story idea. So these aren't tips about any sort of script writing or any story formation. Okay, step 1, locations. It can be really difficult to visualize your film if you're just starting out. So this is why I want to start with locations before you storyboard. I've created a location worksheet for filmmakers who just need that extra support. That will be free to download on my website. I will put the link below. Finding your location and taking a lot of photos can really help you to visualize your film. And more importantly, you can decide where the camera position will be in different shots. Locations give you a lot of information, especially about light. You will be able to find out where the sunlight is coming from and also what other lighting equipment you may need to bring in. There's an element of art direction here. So if your location, for example, is a garage door that you want to shoot in front of, it might have a sign or something on it that you want to hide. So getting this information early is great. You'll be able to put some cardboard over it or bring in a rubbish bin or something to cover that part of the set that you don't want people to see. So again, first tip, locations. Now the second tip, storyboarding. So you've found all the information you need about your location. Now you can really visualize your film and you can start to storyboard from all the photography or video clips that you've taken. You understand where the camera will be, what lighting direction will take place within that or within those shots, and you can block out the action. Now, all of that will help you with the storyboard. I still think the storyboard is really important, especially if you're just starting out or if you're still struggling to visualize a story. A lot of professionals, of course, still use storyboards. I can go straight into shot lists. I sometimes do storyboards. Sometimes I do a mix of shot lists and storyboards. But I've been making films for quite some time, so I find it easier now to visualize what I need for that particular story. I think practicing storyboarding or the storyboarding process is really good in strengthening the way you visualize film and how you see, because creating a stronger eye or a director's vision is really important, of course. The other thing a storyboard can do is it helps the whole crew or the whole team to see your visual idea and understand what you're trying to do. That gives people clarity about what they're doing and why they are doing certain things in the shots or in the scenes. That's for actors and of course for the crew. With this, I'm not going to go into how to storyboard. There's plenty of video tutorials on that, and there's loads of templates you can download to actually start your storyboard. And you don't have to draw everything. If you're not good at illustration, there's plenty of apps that you can use There's also the photography or film stills that you've taken when you're at the location, so you can use that. You can use a mix of photography, drawing and apps, so it doesn't have to be all one thing, as long as the visual ideas come out really clear. Okay, let's move on to tip 3, sound. Over the years that I've been teaching, sound can be sort of an afterthought or thought about in post-production and not in the planning stage, but sound absolutely needs 100% of your time and your energy and your creative thinking, just as much as the shots do and the acting. Sound is super important. It's vital to have clean sound for the finished product of your film. If I was only to have 2 crew members on any film, it would be camera operator and sound. Most viewers can watch, crappy kind of images, a little bit blurry, a little bit out of focus, some wobbles, but they can't listen to bad sound. That takes them out of the story that you're trying to say. Sound that is distorted, sound with pops and clicks, or different levels between scenes can really disengage the viewer. Bad sound is not nice. So to begin, let's go back to thinking about the location. When you're at the location, it's important to listen to all the sounds that are going on. Is there machinery around? Is it near a school and you hear the bells? Is there a lot of traffic? Are there industry sounds? All these things you want to think about before agreeing to take this location. Sometimes locations can be perfect visually, but you're just not going to get clean sound there. My opinion is to look for other locations before you decide to create sound in post-production. Most filmmakers starting out don't always have the best sound gear, so it can be difficult to record clean sound. But there are a few things you can do to help this process. Let's say you don't have an external mic, so you're going to use the microphone that is in the camera. One thing you need to do is to check the levels. Do this when you're in rehearsal, just as you are about to film. Take the sound from the loudest point that the actor is going to talk at. So make sure they rehearse their dialogue at the sound they're actually going to act at. Sometimes in rehearsal, actors can reserve their energy, so it's really important to get that level correct. Also, when you are looking at the level on your camera, you need to have it about halfway or a little bit over. If you go too far to the top end, you could get distorted sound, and you can't get rid of that. So I would say it's actually better to have lower sound dialogue than higher. If you do have an external mic, you still need to do the same thing. Make sure the actors are speaking at the level that they're going to speak at, and check the levels. If you're using a boom, make sure the boom operator has time to practice with the actors. So any movement that's happening, the boom can rehearse that movement as well. Now, you can take the boom sound from the top, which is really common, but you can also take it from the side and below. If you are using lapels that are hidden within the clothing, make sure you go through all the acting to check that there's no rustling or sound that's heard with the microphone. Lastly, record 30 to 1 minute of sound at every location. This will be your base layer or atmosphere track. Sound is really important. It will be easier if you can capture clean sound on location, because if you're not experienced doing post-production, sound or ADR can be really difficult. So do your best with sound. Step 4 is about the tripod. I've seen, like I said, thousands of films from beginning filmmakers, intermediate and advanced. And a lot of beginners think that handheld will be quicker. But handheld has a certain look, and so you should use it with purpose. Don't use it because it will be faster to shoot. That's not a good reason to use handheld. Some scenes or some moods of a film just don't suit that movement, say a romantic scene or a really quiet drama scene. It's not going to be helpful to have handheld camera. The other thing about using a tripod is to make sure that you level the tripod. So with professional tripods or quite heavy tripods, they have a level there. So you set up the tripod and then you level the head of the tripod. However, if you're using a lightweight tripod or sort of an amateur's tripod, they don't always have a level, but you can buy small levels at any hardware shop. So you set up the tripod and then put the level on top of the head before you put the camera on, and then just adjust the head of the tripod to get the level straight. However, you might want to have a canted composition, so you wouldn't use a level in those times. So a canted or angled composition might be to use when you want the audience to feel uncanny or there's some sort of uneasiness about the scene or shot. And yeah, it's for purpose. So you really want to get the levels right if it's just a nice clean shot. Lastly, tip number 5, art direction. Now, most filmmakers starting out don't have much of a budget or don't have any budget at all, but there are a few things, well, one top tip really, in helping your film look cohesive in the art direction style. That is choosing a color palette. Now, I would suggest that you just choose 1 or 2 colors that aren't fully in the film, but just pops of colors. Even choose 1. For example, let's say you choose the color red. Now, red could be in a female character's lipstick. You could have a red t-shirt on another character. These things can usually be borrowed, so you don't have to think about having a big budget. Say you're doing an interior lounge scene, you could get a red cushion cover or a red candle. It doesn't actually have to be much, but with every scene, if there's just a slight touch of that color, it actually does make a big difference in the overall appearance of the film, even if that's subconscious to the viewer. Okay, that's my 5 tips. Now, if you've watched to this point, I'm going to give you an extra tip, and that's casting. Casting can be really difficult in the beginning of your filmmaking stage. It's hard to ask people to act in your film, and you might not even know many people that can act. This is where you spread your net further. Ask your friends, ask your flatmates, ask your sister if they know anyone who does act. Someone's friend of a friend might have a mother who acts. Also, there are Facebook or social media groups, probably in your area, for actors. So search those out and put a post asking for actors. Make sure you tell them on that post that you're not experienced or you're starting out or you don't have a budget. Put a little synopsis of the film and also clearly give your details. Slowly you will grow a group of friends and team members, and some of those may go on to film a number of projects with you. You will grow stronger each time you make a film. When you're starting out, you think, oh, I don't know, what can I do? I don't know how to do this, and you might lack confidence. But advanced filmmakers don't know everything. I don't know everything. Superstar directors don't know everything. And that's what's so exciting about filmmaking, the challenge of making the film every time you make one. Okay, so that is the tips. I've created a location worksheet that I said before. It's on my website. I'll put the link below. Leave a comment about your filmmaking, even leave links to your films. I'd love to watch them. Subscribe to the channel if you want more tips and tricks about filmmaking and just discussions and sharing about film in general. That's it for now. See you next time.